and welcome to LSJ News. I'm Hannah Richardson with your latest news and sport update in Lincolnshire and around the country as we continue to work from home. 204 new coronavirus cases have been recorded in Lincolnshire. Nearly 240,000 people have had their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine as well, and sadly there have been 2 coronavirus-related deaths recorded. Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced his roadmap to lifting lockdown restrictions earlier this week. The 4-step plan could mean that all limits on social contact could be lifted by June. Leanne Buck has more.
So yes, it's true. Coronavirus restrictions in England could be lifted by June. Boris Johnson's 4-step plan to get us out of lockdown sees a relaxation of the rules as early as March. However, before proceeding to each next step of the plan, careful consideration will be taken and there will be 4 assessments that must be met. The assessment is reliant on the vaccine deployment continuing successfully, evidence showing that vaccines are sufficiently effective in reducing hospitalisations and deaths in those vaccinated, that infection rates do not risk a surge in hospitalisations which would put unsustainable pressure on the NHS, and that their assessment of the risks are not fundamentally changed by new variants of concern. So now that we know the assessments that will be carried out, what are the 4 steps that will get us out of lockdown? Well, step 1 will see schools reopening on the 8th of March, and they will be able to hold after-school sports and activities. Recreation in outdoor public spaces, such as parks, will also be allowed between 2 people from early March. This means that they would be allowed to meet for a coffee, a sit-down together, or even a picnic. A few weeks later, on the 29th of March, and we go back to the familiar rule of 6. Outdoor gatherings of either 6 people or 2 households will be allowed. Additionally, outdoor sports facilities, such as tennis or basketball courts, will reopen, and grassroots football will make its return. Step 2 of the PM's plan could see major parts of the economy reopen from the 12th of April. Hairdressers, zoos, beer gardens and theme parks will be able to open, and indoor leisure centres such as gyms and swimming pools will also be open to use. Despite this, there will still be no indoor mixing between households. The 3rd step, should the data allow it, will see the rule of 6 replaced with a limit of 30 for outdoor events from May the 17th. It's good news for the arts industry as museums, cinemas and performances are able to open, as well as hotels, though social distancing is still a must. And it's also good news for sports fans, as up to 10,000 people will be allowed to attend the very largest outdoor seated venues, such as football stadiums. Furthermore, up to 30 people will be allowed to attend weddings, receptions, funerals and wakes. The 4th and final step of the plan could see all legal limits on social contact removed and the final sector of the economy, such as nightclubs, reopened from the 21st of June. Careful consideration will be taken by ministers before giving the final step the green light to go ahead. This will include a review into long-term measures designed to reduce transmission, such as face masks and social distancing. The government also hopes that at this stage, all restrictions on attendees at weddings and funerals will be lifted. Whilst Chief Scientific Advisor Sir Patrick Vallance has said that baseline measures such as wearing face masks in certain situations, hand washing and self-isolation could still be around next winter, the future is certainly looking a little bit brighter when thinking of our return to normality. Leanne Buck, LSJ News.
Many hospitality businesses are having to wait until May to be able to operate again. This follows from the government's announcement on Monday about the lifting lockdown. Sophie Smith has more on the extended wait for businesses that don't match the early roadmap criteria.
For cafes and restaurants who have been struggling since the beginning of the pandemic, the new roadmap gives them an idea of when they should be able to operate again. But not all of these businesses will be able to open at the earliest point. For those who cannot accommodate people outside, the wait is extended. Oakley's Cafe is one of many who will have to wait longer to be able to welcome back customers again.
the small independent businesses that this decision is really going to impact the most. But as I say, there's little we can do. I've done my bit. I've written to our local MPs. I've done all I can in that respect. So there's not much else I can do as a single person, sort of promoting the needs and wants of the local communities.
Under the new plan, hospitality venues will be able to accommodate people outside from no earlier than the 12th of April. For those who can't offer this, the wait extends to a minimum of May 17th. For businesses who have had a hard time this year, additional months of closure and limited operation could be critical. Sarah Loftus is the Chief Executive of the Lincoln Business Improvement Group and emphasises the importance of continued support for local businesses.
I think it's been incredibly tough for them, and I think some will struggle just to open outdoors, and I hope that grants and support are still in place, and we're pushing for that, for those that actually they can't make the figures add up to open just outdoors because they haven't got the space.
COVID-19 has been hard for businesses, and many are hoping that the next few months will bring an end to a year of struggle. Sophie Smith, LSJ News.
Lincolnshire County Council have been criticised for going too slow on their plan to reduce carbon. Last week, the council voted in favour of low carbon policies to reach their 2050 net zero emissions targets, but the opposition says they are taking the slow train. Well, our reporter Aaron Mayhew has more for you.
Last week, Lincolnshire County Council agreed they wouldn't build wind turbines and solar panels on good standard agricultural farmland. The council agreed this was necessary to reach the executive's 2050 net zero carbon emissions target. However, it's this target which has created debate.
Having an unimaginative target of 2050, not in tune with the community, is it is taking the slow train. That target is not justified. Nowhere in the council Green Master Plan is there any justification of the 2050 target.
The opposition say a carbon neutrality target of 2030 is critical to prevent global temperatures from rising drastically. Conservative councillor Colin Davey proposed the council's Green Master Plan, which included policies such as LED streetlights and solar energy. The Executive for Economy warned a premature target could cost the taxpayer.
I don't see their target of 2030 as at all achievable or realistic. 2050 is achievable, realistic. If it can be done by 2045, fantastic, or even earlier. But you've got to remember that making a decision today that's not properly thought through imposes a huge cost on the taxpayer.
While their timescales differ, the County Council are unanimous in tackling the threat of climate change. As the opposition councillor Robin Renshaw was keen to point out, however, the May local elections could change the council's makeup, in turn affecting the carbon emissions target. Aaron Mayhew, LSJ News, Lincoln.
And in sport, Lincoln City manager Michael Appleton has committed to the club until 2025 by signing a new contract. Rumours had indicated Championship clubs were interested in the Imps manager, but Appleton penned a new 4-year deal as his side challenged for promotion from League One. The club also announced new deals for wingers Anthony Scully and Remy Howarth. Next up, the second place Imps travelled to Plymouth Argyle as they look to bounce back from a midweek draw against Swindon Town.
For as disappointed as it was the other night, if we play like that and take the 3 points, I'll still be happy. But it is going to be difficult. Obviously, they had a tough game against Peterborough midweek. But prior to that, am I right in thinking prior to that they were one of the unbeaten sides since the new year? Yeah, so they're obviously on a decent vein of form.
And in non-league football, Lincoln United's men's team have had their seasons curtailed after not playing for over 4 months. Steps 3 to 6 of the non-league pyramid have had games cancelled for the remainder of the season. The curtailment is different to null and void and means there could still be promotion and relegations with discussions ongoing. Now to Aaron Mayhew for your weather.
Thank you, Hannah. It's been very sunny in Lincoln today with clear blue skies and a maximum temperature of 12 degrees. As we move into the night, clouds will come over, but it should stay mostly dry with a minimum temperature of -2 degrees. And as we look ahead to the weekend, Saturday looks to be sunny with a maximum temperature of 13 degrees, while Sunday should be overcast and cloudy. Back to you, Hannah.
Thank you, Aaron. And finally, an 8-year-old boy from Retford has been running to raise money for Bassetlaw Hospital. Harrison has raised over £2,000 after setting the challenge to run 69 miles in 6 weeks, which is the distance from his home to the Etihad Stadium. The Manchester City superfan received a football shirt from the club to congratulate him.
I chose the AFC.
You chose the
ward,
ATC.
The ATC ward, and then we had too much money, so then I chose another ward to help, and that was the children's ward.
But why did you choose the children's ward?
Because I thought it would be nice to help the children as well.
Well, that's all from us this evening. Thank you for watching. If you want to keep up to date with us, you can do on social media. You can follow us on Twitter at LSJ Tweets or on Facebook and Instagram at LSJ News TV. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and have a good evening.